Well, good evening on this Wednesday. It is so good to be with you again. Awesome to have you connected. I thank you for taking the time for coming online, and I do hope that we're going to have an exciting, enjoyable conversation tonight. I hope you're not too disappointed, but tonight it's just you and me. I don't have any guests that are joining in on the conversation. I do hope, though, that if you are online, you're connected with us, then that the guests I'm going to have will be you. So look forward to us engaging tonight as we talk about leaders and teams. That's what we're talking about tonight. We're talking about leaders and teams tonight. I'm just taking some time to see who we have online and to see who's connecting with us and to share this stream tonight. Of course, we want to be doing that, want to be sharing it because I think that we're talking about a subject tonight that is imperative to anybody who's in a leadership role, anybody who's working within a leadership organization. This is an absolute imperative for you. So talking about leaders and their teams tonight, I'm just going to share with you something that I have prepared that I hope is going to help us go through our conversation for tonight. Let's do that. So I hope that you're able to, and I know that you're able to see this on your side as well tonight. Welcome to everybody. If you're in a leadership role tonight and you work within an organization or you do lead an organization, then what I'm going to do is invite you to let us know what sort of leadership role it is that you are in. Good evening to you, Angelique. And everybody else, Host Ezekiel, thank you for coming in. Good evening to you. Great to see you tonight. Well, not quite see you, but know that you are connected online with us tonight. So if you're within an organization or you do lead the organization itself, do let us know what your leadership function, what your leadership role is. Perhaps not necessarily in the corporate sector, but if you volunteer outside of the corporate sector as well, and you fulfill some sort of leadership role, then let us know what that is, just so that we know who it is that's connected tonight and who it is that we're talking to, and we can engage in the conversation together. So talking about leadership and leaders and their teams, every leader needs a team around them, right? Every leader needs a team around them. And when we consider the world around us and we see all of these amazing leaders that we have in the world around us, then we understand also even these great leaders of our times and times gone by have had teams around them. Everyone needs a team. Or if you don't have your own team, you depend on someone else's team. All right. So even if you are relying on a service provider for one or other reason in your space, relying on that service provider, the reason that they are reliable is because they have a team in place. We look at great leaders like Jesus. He called his teams disciples. He had a team of disciples. All right. Also, obviously, having very strong spiritual meaning to that word, but he had a team of people around him. I'm saying at a very basic level, and this group of people, the team of people that he had around him, were his disciples. Sam Chan writes in his book that, and he refers to leaders as ladder holders, and we're going to talk about a little bit about those ladder holders later on this evening as well. When you consider a coach of whatever sporting team, the coach has his team around him to help him achieve the results, help him achieve the goals that need to be achieved for whatever category of sport that may be. CEOs don't just merely operate on their own, but they have other C's around them. So the CEO would have the CFO, they have the COO. There's a whole lot of C's around them from that executive suite, all right? That's around them. So everyone needs a team. Within a family, if we want to be successful, we need to learn how to operate as a team. If we're just putting together a volunteer project, then from personal experience as well, and some of the stuff we do over at church, it requires a team to pull that off. There is nothing that is reliant just on one individual independently to pull off what the great vision is. So everybody needs a team around them. And even if you don't have your own, you're relying on somebody else's team. I had to go out today and just have somebody send their team into our building, into our facility, so that they could come and render a service that was required. And so I didn't have my own team to do that, but I had to rely on their team. And in a similar way, you're relying on teams as well. Now, here's the thing about leaders. Leaders can either just focus on achieving the results, or they can focus on being the kind of leader that everybody just likes and loves, or be a really successful or great leader and be the kind of leader who doesn't just focus only on results or only on relating, but a leader who actually achieves results through people. That kind of sounds a little bit bad. It could sound a bit bad if you don't understand the point of it. It sounds almost like you're using people, and that's not what it means. When we achieve results through people, it means that we are able to multiply ourselves. So we're not just centering everything on us. We are not limiting to everything to just what our capabilities are, but we are able to multiply ourselves in others and through others in order to be more effective and achieve better results. And I was chatting to somebody about this just the other day, and I said, it's actually the greatest example I could think of, and perhaps it's a little bit obvious being a pastor as well, but the greatest example I could think of was the example of Jesus in the area of multiplication and achieving results through people. Never left the borders of his home country while he was on the earth, but more than 2,000 years later, his organization is global. How did he achieve that? Well, it's those disciples we spoke about earlier. He selected 12, multiplied himself through them, and then everything that he laid as a foundation, everything that he set up as what is called the church, went global. And today we live in a world where his organization is global, even though he is not here. So he achieved results through people. And in doing so, there was a process of multiplication, multiplied himself through people. Another reason that leaders, great leaders, want to achieve results through people is because it becomes about others. In other words, it's tapping into a great leadership value, which is the value of humility. Humility can be considered the number one value of leaders, humility. And when we talk about humility and leaders achieving results through people, what I simply mean by that is that humility is strength under control. In other words, it is not being weak, it is being strong. It is about a leader understanding their strength, but in understanding the strength, the leader then uses that strength to equip and empower and build others up. And this is humility. Humility is being able to use your own strength to equip others and help others grow and become better. So the great leaders don't just focus on results, because when you focus only on results, you crush the people along the way. When you focus only on relationship, then you end up dancing to somebody else's tune, and you lose sight of the vision, you lose sight of the purpose that you were there in the first place, and then you're just going according to the whim and the merry of the people. And so being on either extreme is not the greatest thing in the world. Focusing only on the results, crushing people, focusing only on relationships, and then just being led astray and distracted by what the whim and the merry of the people is. Rather, great leaders know how to achieve results through the people. Results and relationship is what great leaders focus on. And in order to have this balance in place, a leader themselves must know what their true values are, and the true values speak to what their vision in life is, and that helps them to bring this balance together. We don't have too much time to talk about that for tonight, but what we can talk about is the 5 qualities of ladder holders. And the reason I'm going to this is from Dr. Samuel Chand in his book on ladder, Who's Holding Your Ladder? And he speaks about ladder holders. In other words, the team that you have around you. And in this book, he points out that the team that you have around you is probably one of the most critical decisions that a leader is going to make. Who to select and how you select the right people to be part of that team that is around you in your organization, whatever your organization is. How do you select these individuals who would be your core team that's going to help you to lead and drive the organization forward? And in his book, Dr. Chan points out the 5 qualities of ladder holders. So I'm going to lead to that tonight and borrow from his book, and then just share some of my own thoughts around it as well, and consider some of Jesus's lifestyle centered around selecting of leaders. Here's what Dr. Samuel Chan says is the number 1 quality of a ladder holder. In other words, a leader that is in your core team. Number 1 quality is that they are strong. And what he means by this, yes, physically, if somebody's going to be holding your ladder, you want them to be a strong individual so that ladder doesn't tip over. But you have to read the book to get the full concept of the image that he's using here, right? But when Dr. Chan says that they must be strong, they must be able to handle instruction and must be able to handle criticism. A leader who is in your core team and who is strong is not just going to crush because you have something strong to share with them. They are equally strong to receive it. And they understand we don't take it personal. It is about building the organization. And because it's about building the organization, it moves us all forward together. Then that leader is somebody who is on your team because they are strong, because they can receive instruction and they can receive criticism at the same time. Criticism does not crush them. They understand it's about excellence and about building and making things better for the greater organization because we want to get better. And remember, we asked this question last week about how do we get better? Or about 2 weeks ago, this was the golden question. How can we get better? When we were chatting to Pastor Adrian and to Justin on change, how do we deal with change? We said that the golden question of the night was, how do we get better? And this is the focus. So we want strong leaders around us. The other thing about a strong leader is that they are able to understand instructions quickly, but still fulfill the task to completion. In other words, Dr. Chand is using this image of being on a ladder. And when you are in the middle of crisis, you don't have time for a prolonged discussion. If that ladder is slipping, if you are slipping or you are falling, you only have enough of time to communicate what is needed in that moment. And you need leaders around you who can catch what you are saying in a brief space of time, a short instruction, but grab the full concept and finish the task so that you don't fall altogether. Either stabilize the ladder, help or support you so that you don't fall and break your bones, but they are able to quickly listen to a short statement, but understand the full concept. And so leaders at your core team should be leaders who, number 1, are strong. Secondly, leaders that have the quality of being attentive. Leaders that you want on your core team have the quality of being attentive. The thing about being attentive is that you don't necessarily have to repeat yourself all the time. Now listen, people only really hear what you have to say once you've said it about 7 times. All right, that's the reality of communication. People only really start to hear you after hearing you say something for about 7 times. And so it's not that you want to say it once and you never have to repeat it, but the point of leaders who are attentive is that they have learned along the way. If their task is the same, then they don't have to be told how to do it every week or every month. Because they have done it before, they know exactly how to do it, and they understand how it can become more efficient. They are attentive. Leaders don't see a piece of paper lying on the ground, understanding that the requirement of your organization is a clean environment. They do not walk past a piece of paper lying on the ground. They are attentive. They pick it up and they get rid of it because it does not fit or suit the culture, the purpose, the focus of the organization. They are extremely attentive. They don't need repetitive teaching on things. They pick up quick and they learn quick and teach others quickly, possibly even. Number 3, leaders are faithful. This does not mean spiritual faithfulness necessarily in this context. Faithful means you can rely on them. They will stick with you along the journey. A faithful leader is someone that you're going to be able to rely on. And listen, the ones who are not faithful won't quit on you at the beginning. They won't quit on you 50% of the way, but likely when you're about 75%, you think you are almost there, and all of a sudden they're gone. But the kind of leaders that you want on your team are leaders who are faithful. In other words, they are so strong that you can depend on them. I learned recently that one of the great pictures of faithfulness is a mother who cradles the baby in her arm. And that cradling arm is a faithful arm. In other words, it is dependent. The baby can depend on that arm that is cradling it, and that is faithfulness. So there is a certain strength that you can lean on, and that strength is not going to fail you, and that is what faithfulness means when it comes to a quality of a leader or a ladder holder that you want on your core team. Number 4 is a leader who is firm. You want people on your team around you who are firm. What does it mean by firm? It means that they are not easily distracted and led astray by manipulative people. So they are not easily whispered to and flattered by what the words of other people are that will lead them away from the vision, the focus, the purpose of the organization. Usually, the cause of those who are opposed to your vision, who are your competitors, would try and show up and sway your team away from you by trying to impress or flatter your team. But when your leaders know that they are not just in it for themselves, but they are part of a strong team with a great vision, and they are there to shift things forward, they are firm in their belief, in their value system. They are knitted together with the values of the organization. And if somebody else shows up to whisper in their ear and to manipulate them with pious whispers, I might say, it may seem very sincere, very holy, trying to build them up as an individual, but at the same time, pull them away, because that is going to weaken your organization, because that's one of your team. Your ladder holders will know, your leaders will know how to be firm, because they belong to the team, because they own the vision, because they connect with the values, and they are not easily led astray. And so they are able to be firm in the role that they fulfill within the organization. And number 5, ladder holders or leaders in your core team, they are loyal. The 5th quality is loyalty. This does not mean that they always say yes. And this is important. Does not mean that they always will say yes. There are times they will say no. But listen, even if they disagree with your head, they won't disagree with your heart. They may disagree with how you do things, but they will not disagree with why you do things. They may disagree with the methods, but they will not disagree with the motivation behind the method. And the more I read this, as Dr. Chan writes it, it speaks to me about trust. These are leaders who trust you with a vision. They trust your values. They've connected with it. They gel with you. They're not always going to say yes 100% of the time. And remember, I learned this from a close colleague. Just because somebody disagrees with you does not mean that they dislike you. And it's always great to have people with a different perspective on things, because it is going to sharpen you. So loyalty does not mean that they will always say yes, but they will understand the motivation. They grab the heart of the issue. Now, this was just about the 5 qualities of ladder holders that Dr. Sam Chan presents to us. When I consider Jesus and his disciples, the team of disciples that he had around him, something struck me out of the scripture as I read it the other day in the book of Luke chapter 6. And around verse 12, it talks about, now it came to pass in those days that Jesus went out to the mountain to pray and continued all night in prayer to God. When it was day, he called his disciples to himself, and from them he chose 12, whom he also named apostles. So here what the Bible is saying is that when it came time for Jesus, who was one of the world's greatest revolutionaries, right? Whether you believe in Jesus or you don't believe in Jesus, one thing you cannot do is deny Jesus. His name is known throughout the world. He's been known across the ages and the centuries. He has made an impact one way or the other. Whether you have a religious belief in him or not, Jesus has made an impact in the world, in society, okay? And so he's been quite a phenomenal individual. And part of how he made his impact is by selecting these 12 leaders. Now, here's the thing about this text of scripture that we just read out of the book of Luke, is that the Bible says he prayed all night, and the next day he calls all of the disciples that he has, and then he chooses these 12. And here I am asking the question, for Jesus, who was God incarnate, if you will, making a decision about his core team of leaders must have been quite a critical issue if he spent all night praying about it before he calls them and makes the decision on it. So watch how important, how valuable selecting the right people in your inner circle around you is. It is absolutely imperative. If it is going to take Jesus all night to pray about this before he makes a decision on it, then you and I, who are leaders within organizations, better well know that we should take our time, give it some serious thought, and absolutely intense prayer if we're going to select those who are going to be on that leadership team. So whatever organization you're leading today, the point is simply that the leadership team that you select around you, whether you want to call them your C team, that's all your chiefs, all of those that are reporting to you as the CEO, whether they are disciples in your ministry, whether they are ladder holders like Dr. Chan calls them, whether it is your sports team if you're a coach, whatever the team is, you want to select the right people to help you achieve that goal, because great leaders achieve goals through people. They're able to relate and they're able to achieve the results. It is a critical issue to have the right people on that team. Now, here's my thoughts on it before we wrap up for this evening in our quick session of just sharing some thoughts on leaders and their teams. And we'll pick up again next week and have a few guests come in and have part of the conversation with us. And if you have any questions that you want to address tonight, then please feel free, go ahead, drop it also in the chat, in the comment section, so I can pick up on that and see if we can help with some answers as well for you. If we don't have the answers tonight, then we can always find it and we can come back to you next week and share that response with you. Here's my thoughts on the matter as well. The right team for you are the people who will be attracted to your vision. They're going to be attracted and they're going to be committed to your vision. In personal experience, one of the things that I have found is that you don't have to labor too hard to find the right people who will connect to the vision that God has invested in your life. Once you start living out the vision, once you start communicating the vision, it will attract the right people to you. It may not look like, hey, all of the superstars that you think should be on the team, but they will be the right people for you, the right people for the vision that you have been given to lead your organization. When I talk about vision, whether you're leading a corporate, or whether you're leading NGO, whatever type of organization you're leading, it is the right people who will be attracted to you, who will be attracted to that vision that you are communicating and you are living for. You won't have to go out hunting and looking for them. But if you're communicating it right, and you have a heart that is for others and not just for self, then you're going to attract the right people. And when those individuals come to you, then be grateful. As leaders, we must appreciate the privilege of having people gift us with their time, gift us with their families, gift us with their skills, even if they're being employed by the company. They are staying within the company because they are connected to the values of your company. They are staying in your company because of your leadership. I have often heard it said that people do not leave organizations, people leave leaders. And so if they're staying in your organization, they are connected to the culture of your organization. They are connecting to the values of your organization. They have committed their energy, their life, their time to you as a leader with a vision. Yes, people will exchange their energy for a paycheck, but not on a permanent basis. If it gets to a point where values are at loggerheads and leadership is going a little bit crazy and they can't quite gel with that, people will take the opportunity to move when they get the opportunity to move. So as long as they are with you, value the privilege of having the skills and the gifts, because they did not just connect with you because you're a handsome or pretty or intelligent individual. They connected with the vision that you communicate through the organization that you lead. And it is a privilege to have people come around you. And not everyone is going to be there committing to your vision, because not everybody is there to celebrate your organization, or it's not the right fit. Your organization is not the right fit for everyone. So for the specific individuals who connect to your organization, connect to your vision, connect to what you have been communicating as vision, it means that there's something inside of them that feels like a piece of the puzzle is fitting. And that is valuable to have. So leaders should appreciate the people and be grateful for the people that they have. When people are attracted to your vision, leadership demands the greater responsibility of knowing, firstly, who your people are, secondly, what their potential is, and thirdly, why are they with you? Beyond your vision, what will your vision bring out in them? Leadership comes with a responsibility, and the responsibility is for the people who are around you. A responsibility for who they are, knowing who they are, knowing what their potential is, and understanding that as much as they love your vision, as much as they love your values, as much as they may like you, but it is everything about the vision, about you, about the values that is going to help them get to their next level of life. That is at the core of why they stick with you, because you help them grow. See, people are at their best when they are giving. And they come to the organization and they give of themselves because it helps them get to a higher place in life. Everybody wants to grow because it is a natural, intrinsic part of our DNA to grow. And so we must understand as leaders, who are these people? What is their potential? And what about our vision gives them the sense of growth? Because when we understand that, then we can better connect with our people, position them in their roles and responsibilities better, and hey, even appreciate our people better. Because leaders know how to say thank you. And a thank you actually improves somewhere between 80 to 90% of the performance that you would get out of an individual who's committed to your organization. But knowing how to say thank you, does this person want an applause in front of all of their colleagues? Or do they want you just to hand them over a voucher and say to them, hey, here's an all expenses paid trip for the weekend away with your family? So they don't need you celebrating them in public, but there are some things in their private space that is important to them. And it is about knowing that individual and how they want to be appreciated. So the leader has a responsibility to know who the people are, to know what their potential is, and to understand why they're with you beyond your vision, beyond what you think is so great about you. Like, why are they with you? What is your vision going to bring out in them and give back into their lives to help them be a more valuable individual and help them grow and become a better person? So these are just my thoughts on the matter. Jesus's thoughts are that you should spend all night praying before you select your core team, before you get your people, your golden circle around you, if you want to call them the golden circle, before you get your core team around you, the people that Sam Chan calls your ladder holders. And Sam Chan says, if you're going to have ladder holders around you, then you want people, number one, who are strong individuals. Jesus says, pray about them. Sam Chan says, look for them and make sure that they are strong, that they can handle instruction and criticism. They are attentive. They will learn quickly and bring your organization to a place of efficiency without having to be told over and over again. Number three, they are faithful. In other words, they are dependable. You can rely on them. They are trustworthy. Number four, they are firm. They're not just going to be swayed by a better offer from another organization. They're not going to be carried away by the whispers of other individuals who are just trying to pump them up so that they can take them away, which is going to lead to their detriment. But they understand, they connect to the values, they're part of a team, they are driven to the bigger and larger picture that the organization offers them. And number five, they are loyal individuals, not always saying yes, but knowing how to say no and what the reason for the no is. And so these are the things that Jesus teaches us, is to pray seriously, intensely about it. Dr. Sam Chan says, look out for these qualities when you're selecting your ladder holders, your core team. And I'm saying to you, as leaders, let's appreciate and love our people. Let's know them. And it is once when we know them that they can be well positioned, correctly positioned, and we can help them develop and grow so that ultimately the organization, the vision, can achieve greater results. I do hope, I pray that this has been valuable to you tonight. I pray for every single one of you that are connected to this stream, whether you're watching us live or you're catching us a few days later or a few weeks later. I do pray, if you are a leader, may you experience a blessing upon your life from the Lord Jesus Christ that would help you be a greater, better, more efficient leader. I pray that you will recognize the gift of people that God has put around you to help you achieve greater, more efficient results. I pray that whatever your struggles are in the area of the resources of people, that God's going to send the right people your way as you communicate clearly the vision of your life that God has invested on the inside of you, or the vision of your organization that you are leading today. There are people that God has placed around you. May you find those blessings. May you find them quickly. May they help you to quickly turn around the results of your organization for the better. So blessings to every single one of you. Experience the presence of God wherever you are, and I will catch up with you again next Wednesday evening. It has been a pleasure, a delight to connect with you, to share some thoughts with you, share it with other people so that it can be a blessing and an encouragement to them also. Wherever there's an organization, wherever people are in a leadership position, they need a team around them. So if this is something that can encourage them, go ahead, share it with them, and let them know that God has sent blessings in the people who are around them, and people can help them grow. God bless you. Look at your people, whoever are around you tonight, and appreciate the blessing that God has sent into your life. It was a pleasure spending time with you. Good night, and God bless.